Jonathan, thank you so much for having us here at your office at 767 3rd Avenue. How is 3rd Avenue competing with the rest of Midtown?
In general, I think 3rd Avenue as a submarket is pretty strong these days. We've seen a lot of the big blocks of space come off the market in the last 2 years, and what you're really seeing is a lot of interspersed pre-builts throughout the 3rd Avenue corridor. We're starting to see not TAMI tenants, but more creative tenants shifting to 3rd Avenue as a value proposition. And so we're starting to adjust our finishes and our design to attract that tenancy that's coming here.
Who are the tenants that are looking right now?
To be honest, the same tenants always exist in New York City. Who's the flavor of the year or the week, I think obviously changes. As a market, we've obviously seen the healthcare industry drive large blocks of space. But really, I think the statistic is for New York City, Class A, Class B, 58% of the market's made up of tenants under 10,000 square feet. And it's always an eclectic range. I mean, obviously, certain submarkets attract certain tenants, Midtown South for TAMI. So as we reposition 2 Gansevoort in the meatpacking district, TAMI tenants, but our largest tenant is fast retail Uniqlo Theory, opening up a design center in the heart of the meatpacking district.
Now, speaking of the design part of this conversation, I noted the virtual reality mask that you have in your office. Technology is important to you, right?
Technology, I think, is important to me. It's important to our industry at the where we are today. I think our industry has been slow to adopt technology, and I think that there are finally value propositions in the market that really are finally providing true value to commercial landlords and to management companies.
How are you using technology in your day-to-day?
We're looking for really what it provides, and we have a couple boxes that we like to check. We are believers at Kaufman Organization and Sage Realty that outside of health, wealth, and family, time is our number one commodity today. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, what is Uber? I'm not the first one to say this, obviously. It's a transportation company, it's an infrastructure company. But to me, it sells time. It allows me to work at my desk for a couple minutes longer before I have to leave for a business meeting or a dinner or an event. So to me, it sells time. We also look to see whether technology is providing actionable data for us. Companies like Honest Buildings and VTS, as they started, were always cognizant of building that big data. And they might have not turned on the switch day one, but obviously today they have. And so the historical data that's been in now at VTS for 5 years or so, or for Honest Buildings for 3 years, really has become actionable. I'll give you a great example for that. As the managing member and manager for the properties, and we have partners with a number of our properties, we put together budgets each year, and we're presenting the budget, and obviously the big line items in the budget is capital. Typically, you would bid out let's say you're going to do 4 pre-builts on a floor. You would bid that project out to a number of GCs. Those GCs would bid, you'll level the bids, and you're going to award to the lowest bidder. With a company like Honest Buildings, as you track not just the data set of what was the final bid number, right? But what was the final construction number at the end of construction? Does GC1 always come in 5% below the mean of the bids, but end up at par or maybe 1% over because of the number of change orders over the lifetime of that construction? And so maybe using that data, maybe it actually is better to award to the second lowest bidder because he might be the second lowest bidder, but over the history of his lifetime doing construction in your portfolio, he comes still with below 1% of the mean in the finalized construction numbers. That's what we mean when we talk about really actionable data, and data that allows us to take actions to the benefit of our portfolio that we weren't able to do without this technology.
Jonathan, thank you so much for talking to us today.
It's been a pleasure. Really happy to host you guys here.